see how they do it. I don't know if anyone will join me today. Sometimes we get 1,000. Sometimes we've had up to 186,000 of y'all join me. Anyways, it's Steve the Guardrail guy, and I am just we're watching them install a brand new headlight here at Elm Hill and US 321, and I just thought it was interesting. I thought it was neat to see how these things get installed, and we're just watching them work. So anyways, hey, thanks for joining me. It's Steve the Guardrail guy. They're just installing this new red light, and I just thought it was kind of interesting to see how it gets done. Yesterday I stopped over and talked to these guys, got permission to kind of share. First Amendment gives me permission to share, but I like to talk. But you can see they're just installing this arm of this red light that will protect you from this direction here. That's actually going to be a double red light that goes across here, and it's a huge positive in that this location, it will slow traffic down, and there have actually been multiple guardrail crashes at the end of that bridge, including a fatal one. But I just thought this was interesting. I thought I would video it, share it here with you. A few of you joining me here. They just installing it. Let's zoom in up here. I can barely get a doorknob on right. I don't know how you get this 50-foot red light that's swinging in the wind. Oh my goodness, I couldn't imagine like your fingers getting jammed there. If anyone has any questions, I don't know anything about red lights or installation, so don't ask me that. I just mostly found this really interesting and found what these guys are doing interesting, so I thought I'd share the actual install with you. I would love to see this road shut down. I would not want to be. Anyways, it's Steve the Guardrail guy. Hey, hello. I just thought this was kind of a cool thing to actually see. You always see these red lights, traffic lights, I guess, everywhere, and you can see he's working on getting that installed. It has 4 bolts that hold that sucker. It is windy out here today. I would not want to be doing this. I would, but anyways, I thought it was pretty cool. Hello. Thank you for looking out. Free Diddy. Okay. Oh goodness. And then a political comment. It's Steve the Guardrail guy. This is just Progression Electric, Tennessee DOT road, maintained. This is Lenore City, Tennessee was involved with this. The mayor had told me that they had a $30,000 share in it. They're improving the lighting along this area, but adding this red light, which there have been a lot of crashes. The thing that I'm really happy about is a lot of times it's not the guardrail, it's the downstream. Got 1 bolt in, got 2 bolts in. Those bolts are massive. Let me zoom in. Fellas up there on those bolts are absolutely massive. I picked one up yesterday and they weigh a lot. But these things, they can get these lateral posts a good 90 some feet. And they'll bounce around. There's actually a damper at the end of them. They don't have it on this one, but it prevents circular rotation in the wind. But they're getting this one lined up. I'd be terrified of my fingers up there. It's just interesting to watch them. Watch them work. Steve the Guardrail guy. They've got 2 of them in. and they've got another number of them set up over there ready to go. And this is a red light at US 321 and Elm Hill, Lenore City Park. You can see Fort Loudon Dam in the background. The gates are now off. You can see up there the Great Smoky Mountains in the background. Getting bolt number 3 in, and there's not nearly as much sway. There's really just 4 bolts holding that big giant, just 4 bolts. There's a lot more technology than 4 bolts, but what actually holds that lateral bar is 4 big giant bolts. And so this is at US 321. I just have never seen them actually put a red light in, so I thought, well, what the heck, I'll go live, share it with you. Okay, now you say when you are going to be silence. Timeout. 10 minutes. All right, we got 4 bolts in. It's still moving quite a bit. Steve the Guardrail guy. I just thought this install was quite interesting. The big positive that I think is going to come out of this install, this red light, is alright, so anyways, let me just scroll up through there. Is that this is going to slow traffic down, and there have been multiple guardrail crashes, including a fatal crash involving a motorcyclist just at the end of this bridge. A little better signage warning of the curve ahead could really make a big difference. It pulled another bolt out here on the right upper, and they're just getting these aligned. And Altech is a company based in Chattanooga, Tennessee that makes these lift trucks. But this is Progression Electric. This is a Tennessee DOT and Lenore City, Tennessee project. They're just adding these traffic lights, and I just thought it was interesting to see kind of how the sausage gets made. No pun intended, but the sausage and hot dog factory is right over there, Elm Hill. Does anyone know the bolt torque specification on those big giant bolts? I thought it was interesting to see. If nothing, I thought it was cool to watch. That's why I thought I'd go ahead and go live, share the install. That's pretty loud. I don't know if you can pick up on that. One of the things that I really like is when, if you look, so there's one install there and one there, but they're going to put 2 on that same pole. And I'm a big believer in math, because I know, so by being able to use that post right there is pretty dangerous to an impacting motorist, but by only having 3, we've cut down the probability of an impact with a post by, well, we've cut it by 25% in situations where you can use put 2 lights on one post and omit the 3rd one, which would be that one over there. You can cut the probability down by half. And so one of the things, like when these are being designed, if you can use just 3 posts, if we scale that to 1,000 locations, and now we've omitted 1,000 posts. We do that 2,000 locations, we omit 2,000 posts. If we can double it up, we got 4,000 posts, and now we're getting into real numbers where over enough time we're going to prevent a fatality, because if there's no post to hit, there's no crash to happen. Anyways, incremental improvements in safety that can even save money will eventually save lives. But this is just a red light installation in Lenoir City, Tennessee. I'd seen them everywhere I go, but I've never seen one actually installed, so I thought I'd share this with you. We'll hang around and see. They've got a couple more ready to go. I'd like to see the really long red light installed. See if they have a damper. There's a damper that goes on the end of this, so it prevents circular. They called it circular galloping. You may see it. It looks kind of like a Starlink at the end of the. I didn't know if it was something mechanical or something with the electronics of it, but it's a damper that prevents circular galloping, so in the wind it doesn't just get going out of control. Those things can really get swaying in the wind. It's amazing to me that they even hold up. But I'm not the guardrail, or I'm not the traffic light guy, I'm the guardrail guy, but I find them interesting. I find the engineering interesting. This is, I think this is going to really save lives, this red light, because there have been a number of crashes at this intersection. This crosswalk here, I walk it frequently. It is dangerous to cross. You put your life in your hands every time you cross. And you better look in all 360 degrees, because somebody will run you over in every direction. This is Progression Electric. This is a Tennessee DOT project with funding also coming from Lenoir City. I don't know if Loudoun County had to kick in their share. Most red lights, from what I understand, are actually maintained by the city in the state of Tennessee. Quit griping, I'm yapping and oil up. All right. Oh goodness, I gotta be careful reading these. Y'all are DOT, I'm not DOT. Wow, y'all are doing great. So, I don't know if they're doing great or doing terrible. It's interesting to me. I would prefer a few more lane changes, or not lane changes, lane closures. I'd rather protect our workers than ideally for me, I'd just shut that road down, say find another route, and I'd have a TMA right there, and I'd shut this lane down and say use that lane over there, don't get anywhere near us. I wouldn't want to be that guy up there and have somebody run us into the back of my truck. They're tightening that one down. I'll see. They're going to take the crane here and go back and get another one. So we'll hang out here a little bit while we wait for them. If anybody who actually installs these, I had a question related. What's the bolt torque? I mean, you can see he's just hammering that sucker down. I thought this was pretty cool, so I thought I'd share it with you in a short live. I'm gonna hang out here. I was on my way home. I saw them actually put the one up over. I saw that they put this one up. I saw they had it on the crane, and by the time I got back, they were all set up and putting this one up, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go back, grab the next one, and we're back here in just a few minutes. I wish I could just walk underneath there and get a close-up of the other side, but I don't want to get in the work zone. I want to maintain goodwill. anyways, it's Steve the Guardrail Guide. A little different content, but this is definitely related to my guardrail advocacy, because I can tell you by slowing this traffic down right over here, right at the end of this bridge where there have been a number of really critical and fatal crashes, it should help. Kinetic energy is the enemy of survivability. Can't get that last bolt in. Hey, if you do see me, I'm at US 321. If you ever see me out and about, honk and let me know. A lot of people now seem to recognize me, and it's always nice to have people say hello. If you want to stop, if I'm in a safe spot and you're in a safe, can get to a safe spot, stop and say hi. Love meeting people who are subscribers, who have watched my videos. Taxpayer money at work. Well, I'm pleased to see this, because this here, they're actually adding, you can see they've been pulling cable, but they're adding 16 lights. Tellico Village, which is a large, it's not technically a retirement community. I think it's not a 55 and over community. It's a retirement community, but people under 55 can live there. But they're adding 20 some lights here, which that should improve. That lighting can reduce the risk of a crash into a guardrail or other incident. Especially, it's most pronounced. Signs and lines are most pronounced in decreasing fatalities involving the elderly population. That line right there, by going from 4 to 6, you can reduce the probability of a fatal incident significantly. In a rural community, it's like, I think 25, or maybe it's 37%, I forget, just by going from a 4-inch line to a sorry, I got a text from a friend. Assad, I'll get right back to you. It'd be cool if I could convince him to mic up with one of my newer mics. But I'm not going to ask. I don't know if you've ever been up on one of those lift trucks. I've been on a scissor lift and also a boom lift, not a truck lift like this, but oh my goodness. The higher and longer the lift, slightest movement, and you just get thrown all over the place. Let's see if he can get this bolt in the last one. But it's just 4 big, giant, and I'm talking giant bolts that hold these things together. Let's see what this... Adding lights with CCTVs and 5G radiation. I don't know about the CCTV. I know Farragut's adding some CCTV. I have become, I'm not Big Brother, I'm Little Brother. I'll admit I have access to about 12,000 cameras that are being archived, and I've come from, I'm able to study a lot of guardrail crashes, but I've found a number of, I've provided footage of probably 10 either homicides or vehicular homicides in the last year. So I guess I'm little brother. If they happen right in front of the camera, I don't know what to do. I take the archive and I'll call the police and send it over. I was able to actually help exonerate a truck driver who was being accused of vehicular homicide, and he hadn't done a thing. But I don't think there's going to be cameras here. I've been able to use traffic cameras, the archives through safetyvid.org. You can get your crash there. They charge a couple $100 for a video of your crash. It's archived by, they have a bunch of states, Delaware, Louisiana, Tennessee, but we've been able to study a lot of crashes, and I'll tell you what, some of the stuff that we know about certain systems has been proven. I've been able to capture, I know based on what I have learned from live guardrail crashes that the SKT seems to perform very well. I'd never want to hit an ET+. I'd never want to hit a turn down. I would never want to hit a if I was going to hit a crash cushion, I definitely would rather hit a smart cushion. If I'm in Arkansas, I probably want you to have a React 350 because they don't repair their systems very often. They just kind of wait. So I want a restorative crash cushion out there. I hate the React, but at least you have something, because if they're not going to fix it. So I think he is disconnecting the crane now. I appreciate these guys being out here. I mean, a lot of times I get all wound up about like installation. An installation, you have to follow the design drawings, but it's never meant as an attack against these guys on the front line. A lot of times they're doing their job. They're doing it exactly how they were trained, and if they weren't trained properly, what do you expect? If they're being told they can't have a lane closure, what are they supposed to do? It becomes very difficult. Let's see. Also forcing smart meters on everyone. I remember when a duress show ran through earlier this year, some street lights were thrown down for a month and a half before any work ever started on them. I'll talk about that again. We haven't had a light bill in 8 months. Yep. No, I'm just sitting over here watching these guys. I thought it was interesting. I'm Steve the Guardrail guy. If you are new to my content, I typically cover guardrails. This is something I have been very interested in because there have been a number of guardrail crashes, including a critical injury and fatal crash right at the end of this bridge over the Tennessee River. And by slowing that traffic down here with a light, I would have preferred a roundabout, but I don't get the design stuff and I don't have to pay for it. But by slowing that traffic down, I hope that it will provide a better opportunity in the big S-curve up there where the fatal and critical injury crash was. I think it gives us a better opportunity. This is Progression Electric. They're the contractor on the Tennessee DOT road. The TDOT is doing, they're sitting over there in their truck. Being nice, Steve. They're not necessarily watching Netflix. Don't make a snide comment. Anyways, I wish the inspectors would get out and do what I'm doing. Watch the install close up. Watch it close up. Why do you have to sit in your truck? You're getting paid good money. Get up there and see what these guys need. If they need DOT resources, if they need something from you, and make sure that we're getting what we're paid for. I have no idea if we're getting what we're paid for. How's it going? What?
This is actually easy here.
This one was easy? Hey, I'm Steve.
Okay,
I have a
Steve,
YouTube channel about between YouTube and TikTok about 260,000, 270,000 subscribers, and it's just cool. It's fun to watch, and jumped on a live, so we're just looking to see what's happening. What are you gonna?
Installing the new red line here is what this is from start to finish.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And the next, are you bringing over another one?
No, they won't let me close 321. We can't stop the traffic. It has to be done at night.
Oh, so you're gonna do that one at night?
Tomorrow night.
7 p.m. I'll come down and watch it. Oh, if I am.
You can see the blue lights are.
Light it up like the 4th of July. All right, so you guys are done for the day? Thank you. Thanks for your work. Well, I guess they're done. Okay, so Steve, is there anything that we, your viewers, can do to help in regards to getting changes made? Is it necessary for us to have as much, so about the codes, regulations, designs, etc.? Regulations, there are none. It's astonishing, but if you want to search Eimers v. Lindsay motion to reconsider, this is a decision that was handed down in my daughter's wrongful death case. Very important case law that was established. I brought in new legal counsel because a motion was lost related to punitives, and it was suggested that the guardrail was in compliance with federal regulations, but there are no federal regulations related to the crash testing of guardrail in the United States. And what Eimers proved in that motion was that there is no federal regulation. So that is one of the big problems, is there's no regulation, but there's a perceived regulation. It's just guidance. It's just like the pirate code from Pirates of the Caribbean. It's merely a suggestion, and that's what we were able to prove in federal court. That was the Eastern District of the Tennessee in United States Federal Court. It's one of those things I'm really proud about is my team of lawyers, Teresa Monroe, Wayne Richie Sullivan, did an excellent job on that case. Snatched a victory from the jaws of defeat and really saved us. I can't ever speak highly enough about them all. Yes, I need to become a better advocate. I need to. There are millions and millions of approach and trailing end guardrails. One of the things that has really hit me, and one of the things I'm getting ready to work on, is I was investigating a very critical injury, spearing on a local road in Monroe County, Tennessee, and they begged me for how do we get training, and there is no training. The feds have stopped training on guardrails. There hasn't been any federal training on guardrails. Guardrails for our local municipalities, that training is almost non-existent. And he said, I want to do the job right. I can't imagine if I install a guardrail wrong and somebody dies, I would feel terrible. He said, can you help us? So I've worked to get some training for these folks. I was able to get them a couple of end terminals donated, some splice bolts that were missing, and just really working on trying to build the systems to where what we need to create is a certification program through our colleges of applied technology at the state level, to where being a guardrail installer is actually a career path, and you receive a certification and you understand things like why we have a trailing end anchor. You understand the science. You don't have to be an engineer. You just have to understand, well, it provides tension to the rail and prevents a rail rupture down here and a catastrophic spearing. We need to understand the ethics. It takes 1,600 hours to be to get your beautician's degree and cut hair in Tennessee, and nothing related to Guardrail. And this is not just Tennessee, this is across the nation. I used to say you just had to be out of prison, but prisoners in the state of Florida with the Charles Pike crash actually installed the Pike Guardrail that was Frankenstein, so you don't even have to be out of prison to be a Guardrail installer. So we need to teach things like proper lane closure so that these guys understand that, hey, your life matters and this is how you are going to set up a lane closure. The responsibility of calling before you dig and making sure that somebody tells you, hey, just pound that post, so you know I'm not going to put that into a high tension line and get electrocuted. Understanding why by moving our splice off the post to right there, do you realize the father of modern Guardrail, he told me, I asked him, I said, what's your magnum opus? He said, that right there, moving the splice 3 inches or 3 feet from the post there. Every Guardrail, if we moved it 3 feet, could probably save a couple hundred lives across America. And there's a couple other things to block out in the rail height. But that is key, because what it does is it gives you a sure release there. Every release is the exact same, and you no longer have the release having to go through, having this bolt pass through. It's passing through just one rail, not this double splice. So what happens is that creates a spike right there, and it performs differently than that one. But by getting that splice in the middle, that one performs the same. Every post, every release is virtually identical. So if we could get an actual training program, and this is so far above my skill set. But right now, I guess I'm trying to respond to this question with more of maybe what would be considered vision casting and putting it out there for people who know a lot more about Guardrail than I do, or know more about systems. Hearing somebody ironically say 5G radiation has removed 60% of my remaining brain cells. Double tap screen to leave a like. Yeah, please do leave a like. 8 months, no wonder so many what? It says, Matthias, I would recommend reporting damaged guardrails to your local DOT. It's pretty easy to do and can make a difference. No raindrop, because I believe they're the cause of the flood. One of the things, at least in Tennessee recently, I've had some really big problems. I'm going to walk down here and show you an issue. I have been using the app because I want to create a duplicatable model. The Tennessee Department of Transportation has not had... I have had a number of guardrails that I reported that were not being fixed. And it hit a critical point in September of 2024 to the point where I will not use Tennessee DOT's application, a web-based app, anymore to report guardrails. I find the state representative or state senator for that location, and I email them, say, I have a damaged guardrail on a Tennessee DOT road. Here's the underlying damage. Here's a photo. What happened is I made a report on a number of guardrails in Sunbright, Tennessee, and Tennessee DOT's application there, they said it was a clerical error. That report was held for 16 months, May of 2023 till September of 2024. They claimed that it did not alter the repair schedule, but it didn't get on the repair schedule for 16 months. I went back out to Sunbright, which is very, very rural Tennessee, and I could see the repair stickers that had just been placed in September 2024. So I have, until Tennessee DOT gets their head back in the game, I am reporting it to state legislators who have a lot more sway than an online app. So the other problem that, and I think this is going to have to come from the state legislature, this sign right here. On Sunday, I left Farragut, Tennessee. I went to Kodak, Tennessee, went through Sevierville and Pigeon Forge, where Dollywood is. We went to the Old Mill for restaurant, for lunch. The Old Mill restaurant there in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, if you've ever been there. And I found, and so I'm driving anywhere from mountain roads to state highways, though, to interstate, and I'm watching like I normally do. I counted 66 signs in about 100 miles that didn't follow the design drawings. The big thing in Tennessee that I have to get is I have to get them to follow their design drawings. This sign right here used to be over here. It got damaged, and rather than install it, so it should be 4 feet from this rail. So it should be, but you can't put it right in the middle of the bike path. I shouldn't say that because they'll say challenge accepted. I gotta stop being so cynical. I need like a cuss jar, but for where Steve isn't nice jar. And anyways, so it should be over here. But that's hard because you got to go behind this fence, and you got to get your sign, and you got to have probably, you can actually, there's our sign, and you can see where it used to be and where it's fractured. You see that? Let me zoom out. You see that? That's where it is. And when it got damaged and broke, and they just attached it to the guardrail post. Well, it's no longer a breakaway sign. It's attached to a 54-pound I-beam that is now 40 inches embedded into the ground. So we got to get them to be committed to actually installing their signs and all of their guardrails and everything exactly how the design says to. That sign up there is improperly installed. If I go back this way 2 miles, I'm going to find probably 10 more signs that are improperly installed. So that's going to take the state legislator coming up. We've had almost, in the last 15 years, I think it was 200 people involved in crashes where the first harmful event was a sign. I'm not going to try to prove causation. What I can tell you is that TDOT's design drawings say don't do this. And the deputy commissioner said, oh no, we never install them within 4 feet of the guardrail. Well, folks, there's got to be 25,000 signs in the state of Tennessee that are installed near a guardrail and improperly installed. So a commitment to a full fidelity to doing it right eventually leads to a culture where you start seeing those add up and you see fewer fatalities. But anyways, that's just one example. So we're going to need a legislative support for that. Let's read a couple more of these. Yeah, so most of them do. Ohio DOT has a really good app. New York State, you need to call your local resident office. New York does things. They just do it their own way. They also call it Guardrail. It's the same thing, folks. Let me go back here. Every bit helps. Yeah, Hannah and my daughter, every bit helps. Hannah, my daughter, was 17. November 1st will be 8 years that we lost our daughter, Hannah. She was on her way to college, sober, not texting, not intoxicated. No drugs, nothing. Despite what some people like to slander and libel my dead daughter to try to discredit me. Anyways, not on the phone. She went off the left side of the road, had a guardrail come through her car, and she wasn't fatally eviscerated by 100 guardrails, 1,000 guardrails, 100,000 guardrails, not even 5 or 2. She was eviscerated by 1 guardrail. 1. So, hey, there's a proverb at the Holocaust Museum. It says, if you save 1 life, you save the world. I kind of grasp what they mean by that a little better now, but let me flip this around. Every bit does help. YouTube algorithm, thank you. Yes, very well said about every bit. They are shooting Fast and Furious. That's what's happened. Message held for review. I'm not going to review that right now. They are charging everyone's meters to smart meters. So good, they're chill at it. Thanks for your work, Steve. Thank you for your support. LVC, you're awesome. So that certification is, I'd love to get that implemented. I'm going to do a training. I don't necessarily, spring-loaded guardrails might work. Go to engineering school and get $4 million to run the crash test and probably another 5 to develop it. Doing good work. Thank you. All the ones you've reported to MoDOT have been fixed rather quickly. MoDOT is awesome. Oh gosh, you just lost one of the greatest leaders. If you want a real U.S. DOT secretary, not Elaine Chao, and I had hopes for Pete, but I'm sorry, he's just but Patrick McKenna from Missouri DOT, I think he started off in Massachusetts DOT, went up to New Hampshire, lived free or die, and then went out to Missouri. Patrick is probably the single best state DOT leader in America today. He was appointed by, I guess they would have all. I don't know if Patrick is. Missouri would have been a Republican governor, but I just based on people who listen to me and who are respectful. So, like Gina Raimondo, far left. I love Gina because she did what I wanted. Chris Sununu. I can't stand the guy. He's conservative Republican up in Massachusetts or New Hampshire. But then I go to Missouri or Greg Abbott or DeSantis. Man, DeSantis has been so supportive of guardrail stuff. So my politics on guardrail are whoever works with me, I like you. If you don't work with me, I don't. Ideal guardrails must be inspected annually, and any missing parts and or damage must be repaired ASAP or under the risk of heavy fines. So yeah, I think what we need to do is we could probably get away with doing drive-by inspections on a weekly basis with in-person walking inspections like what I'm doing here. So I'm walking here every 2 years, and then doing a monthly LiDAR scan or computer vision modeling with a machine learning algorithm that's empowered by AI. And, you know, AI is like, oh, I got AI empowered shampoo. Well, it's just nonsense. But AI for guardrails is game changer, because that computer vision and LiDAR will pick up on those tears and minor damage to these guardrails And pretty soon, I mean, it will make me look like a terrible inspector. And that's really where the future is. And if we can get our guardrails through the walking inspections up to code, or what it should be, and then get the computer vision and machine learning algorithms so that we know what this guardrail looks like under dusty conditions or wet conditions or whatever, pretty soon, I mean, our repairs are going to be automated. We could actually have it where, hey, we've got the location, create a virtual pin so that our 511, or not 511, 811 in Tennessee, or call before you dig, is notified, automate the whole process. We know exactly what is needing to be done. So that was, we're probably going to just have to have a lot of the dinosaurs that are at some of these DOTs either embrace. Hey, good evening from Germany. Thank you. It's Steve Eimers, which is a German-Dutch name here. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm almost certain that this is just one person on multiple accounts rage baiting. Could be. I've blocked a couple of these. Russia, как дела? Здравствуйте. Добро пожаловать. Now go home from Ukraine. I've got 3 Ukrainian boys and lots of friends from Ukraine. Yeah, that sign that I showed you will go right through a windshield, and we probably 25,000 similar. I've never thought about any of this. It's super interesting. A lot of it is. I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you for acknowledging that. I'm sure your daughter would be so proud of you. She saw what you were doing even today. Yeah, Hannah's injuries were pretty catastrophic. They asked us to donate organs, and it came back and said, thank you, but everything's too damaged to do anything with it. So I see my advocacy. The very first interview I did was with Laura Holm at WATE, which is ironic because Hannah's old boyfriend just got a job there yesterday. But it was with Laura, and I said, my daughter's injuries were so catastrophic, there was no organ transplant. Her heart can't beat on in somebody else. So my advocacy is a way for her heart to be transplanted into people all across America. And I know that so many lives have been saved. We've gotten probably total, I'd guess, oh goodness, the number of guardrails that my advocacy has helped get fixed, it's probably approaching $1 billion. Federal law. A lot of families, dozens upon dozens of families, have been able to obtain a measure of justice through civil litigation. A lot of good has come out of it. It does hurt still, though. I finally got to join you on a live. Hey, thanks for joining me, Ryan. I hope everything's going okay in the Tampa area. Go see Lieutenant Dan, and oh goodness, I don't know if y'all are on TikTok, but the drama over there. This radiation stuff is random guy who cares about guardrails. Well, thank you. Thank you for your service to human safety from most southern Illinois. I'm going to flip this back around, show you a couple things. How many lives have you saved? Well, what are really rewarding are the ones that I know I saved. Like, there was one location where I put a sign on a guardrail that said, Governor Haslam, dangerous guardrail, this could kill someone. And they said, we could have you arrested for putting your signs on these guardrails. And I'm like, okay, you thought the Scopes monkey trial was funny? Or you just wait till Steve gets, I'm like, give me a jury trial. I'll turn this into the biggest circus you ever had. I'm like, here's my hands, arrest me. And they're like, Well, we'll go ahead and fix it, but a couple weeks later, after that one was fixed, it got hit. It was a damaged, kinked ET Plus, and it was replaced with an MSKT, and it ran 45 feet, and and the person walked away. They had been doing about 55 to 60 miles an hour. Had they hit the previous terminal, a very high probability they would have been seriously injured or killed. I caught a capture of an upside down SRT 350 previously, but it was replaced with an MSKT, an energy absorbing guardrail. And that was in near Ocala, Florida. I caught that through a safety vid archive. And be nice, Steve. Don't say that you just saw. No, never mind. Stay off your phone. I won't say who. But anyways, Ocala, Florida, and an upside down SRT 350 when it was switched to an MSKT went probably 30 feet. Very good chance of a spearing, very good chance of with the SRT, a very good chance of a fire with that hit. It's doesn't. I was talking with a fella who we're not really, me and this other fella, we're not very well liked. Some people hate us, and I mean, I had one guardrail contractor that came right up to me within a foot of my face with a giant sign. I feared for my life, and I don't use that term lightly, but talked about how the cultural change that we've created. There's a ton of people that are alive. I would guess hundreds, possibly thousands. And what's hard is you just wish that one of them would come up and say, hey, on this day, had that guardrail not been replaced that you fought about, I wouldn't be here. But we don't have middle knowledge. We don't Molinism. We don't have any of that. But one day we will know, and I can't wait to meet those people and say, hey, on this date, now I was able to live my life and go on and have grandchildren and stuff. Have a safe day, man. One of the guys working on the intersection. Hey, thank you. Thanks for your work on the intersection. Hopefully I'll be able to get out here tomorrow night and watch you put the next arms across the highway here. They're going to get this shut down. It's going to be about 7 o'clock, he said. So I walk over. I'm going to walk across this. This is one of the most dangerous intersections I walk. There's another one downtown near the University of Tennessee. So if you're going to a football game, 17th Street, there's a pizza shop there. Pretty good pizza shop. I like pizza shops where the shop owner has super big personality, big ego, and believes he's got the best pizza in the world. But anyways, it's 17th Street, down near Western Avenue. But anyways, that intersection is even more dangerous than this one. So like that guy's not going to stop for me. I'm not even going to bother. But here I got to watch my back this way, I got to watch my back that way, I got to watch my back that way and that way. I walk. When I cross, I'm almost doing pirouettes, but I want to take a look, see if I can show you a little bit of a close-up. It is wild to me that red light is held up by 4 bolts. Now they're not just 4 bolts, there's one more technology that I'm not an expert on. A lot of times I will not cross at the intersection. I will come down here. That's kind of interesting. That's a core out of the pavement. Back over. I was for that hole right there. I don't know what that's for, but I'll come down here because I feel just a little bit safer. Crossing at that intersection, I risked my life. You can see they brought this over. They had a rope on this side. and I'd be terrified of my fingers. Oh my goodness. You can see, I'll take a look at that. They cut off that little bit. That is like almost 2 inches. That's the edge there. We got ground rods. You can see those bolts. Let me zoom in on them. Those are huge. But it's really just four big giant bolts that hold that sucker on. And what I like about this pole right here is it actually has 2 lights. That one has just one. That one has just one. But by being able to put 2 arms here, you actually remove 25% of the hazards at this intersection. If you scale this to 1,000 intersections, all of a sudden you've got rid of 1,000 narrow, rigid structures, and that adds up to life safe. So I always want to encourage engineers, if you can put 2 on one pole, do it. If you can do that with both sides, now you can cut it down even more, and you can, once you scale, you can change the world. Yeah, those are some serious bolts. I was up in DC, I actually found a bunch of those that were loose. Okay, so one of the folks installing says the hole in the pavement, the core was to locate the water line underneath, so a directional drilling rig could put the core pipe in. I am normally location for the directional drilling. That is amazing. I'll tell you what. I sometimes, like, a lot of people, we have prejudice, and we look at like, well, that guy, I couldn't do plumbing, I couldn't do this in a million years. And I mean, okay, so you're a lawyer or an engineer. I couldn't line up those bolts, or I'm a registered nurse by training. I couldn't line up those bolts to save my life. And a lot of people are really elitist. But I find this fascinating, and these guys are artisans as far as I'm concerned. The ability to get that thing straight, mine would be leaning over. It'd tip over in the first, it wouldn't even need a windy day. It'd tip over on the first sunny day. There's one, they were telling me yesterday, there's one of these in Maryville, Tennessee, up on 321 this way, that was for a while until there was one installed in Memphis. It was the longest pole, lateral pole. Hey, if you know what the name of that is, tell me so I don't sound like an idiot. But it was, I think, 90 some feet. And I mean, that thing would be like, standing on the end of that would be like a pogo stick. It's amazing that those things hold up. I'm gonna need to leave. Hey, thanks for joining me. Sadly, my phone overheats when charging and watching streams. Have a good day and stay safe. Thank you. I gotta check and see how much battery. I got 47%. Why don't I show you a few things? I am getting ready to do some training with a local city, and hopefully we're gonna invite a bunch of the cities in. And one of the things I want to highlight is, in that training, is that every guardrail has 3 big components. And it's gonna have a beginning, it's gonna have a middle, and it's going to have an end. And every beginning of the guardrail is going to need an end terminal. And the end terminal is not just this impact head, but it, oh, that's a lot faster than 40. Should have my radar gun. But anyways, a test level 3 terminal is the first 50 feet. On a local road, you can do a test level 1 or test level 3 terminal, depending on speed and the design speed for that road. Then you have your middle, and the key characteristics of a modern middle guardrail is that it's 31 inches to the top of the rail. It's any splice is between the posts, and it uses at least 8-inch blockouts, preferably 12-inch blockouts. That is called the Midwest Guardrail Standard, and Tennessee uses an 8-inch block. But that is what's going to make up the best middle. And then your end is going to be made up of either a trailing end anchor, and I've switched around to this side here where the sidewalk is, because I don't want to go all the way up there and I don't want to put myself in harm's way. So the end may be just a trailing end anchor like you see here that is outside of the potential clear zone. This can't be hit, so you don't need an energy absorbing impact head, an expensive impact head like that. You can use the generic like what you see here. If it goes into a concrete barrier, or more rigid barrier, you're going to need a concrete transition, because you don't want to have this, which deflects 4 feet this way. You don't want to hit right at what's called the coffin corner. Hey, I think that's a bald eagle. That is a bald eagle. I don't know if I can zoom in. You can't see it. I get to enjoy it. I saw one over at the Loudoun County Justice Center today too. They are active. We had 2 in our backyard last week. Anyways, sorry, I got distracted. This is Tennessee. This is Fort Loudoun Dam. They actually are still spilling water from 2 gates related to the Tennessee floods. I don't know if you can see the mountain silhouette in the background. That's the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. I don't see where that eagle went to, but there's an osprey nest on that tower. A lot of raptors in this area. But so you're going into concrete. Your ending can be a concrete transition, or here our ending is just a second beginning, because it is potentially within our clear zone. You have a guardrail potentially in your clear zone. You're going to need a second guardrail end terminal. A crash that we caught live on camera through a security camera in Plant City. The guy was doing 45 miles an hour, and he hit a trailing end anchor like what you see up there. No energy absorbing capacity, but it was within the clear zone, and he was gutted. He was killed. And it was the lowest speed spearing that I've caught on camera. So, but anyways, every guardrail needs a good beginning, a good middle, and a good end. And when the end is in the clear zone, it needs a second beginning to prevent a spearing. Another highlight that I want to cover in this class that we're going to do for the local municipalities is that any guardrail, minimum length of any guardrail should be 75 feet from right there to the ending, which and with the soft stop, they have very specific guidance that I think you have to have a minimum of 100 feet between soft stop head. I'd have to look, but you can't just make it up. There has to be a good beginning, a good middle, and a good end. For our local municipalities, I think the thing they really need to know is that every guardrail beginning and end must have an anchorage. Without an anchor, whether it's fixed to a concrete wall, a cable anchor like this, or tethered like the soft stop that you see right there, any guardrail that's not anchored will not successfully redirect you. Yeah, so this here I believe is an osprey. The eagle's nest is down here. It used to be an old sycamore tree, but that thing fell years ago. But there are a number of breeding pairs of eagles, and they love to fish underneath Fort Loudoun Dam. I'll often find fish up here on the roadside, and I didn't know what was causing it until I saw one drop. There was actually an incident in Kingston, Tennessee, near Roane County, where a fish got dropped, hit the car in the dash perfectly, and it killed the truck. I mean, it killed the vehicle. They came to an immediate stop, and it was like real life Sharknado. But yeah, there are a number of eagles here, and ospreys everywhere. I care. I love knowing where people. Oh, you don't have to announce it. You can. I like it. I like to know what people are doing. I love to know where people are from. When I've had people say, "Oh, I'm from Kenya. I'm from Mongolia." That bird looks like a. Oh, that's an eagle. Let me see if I can get. Let's see if we can watch an eagle. That'd be cool. That had a white tail feather. I caught, somebody snagged a gray blue heron up over here, and I actually found the photo. I'll post it if I can find it again. They snagged it with their fishing line, and then somebody cut the line, and I went and picked up this great blue heron because it was not going to make it. I called the game warden, and there was no, I couldn't, he's like, we can't do anything. We can shoot it if you want. He said, you can take it to UT, but you're going to pay the bill. And so I was carrying it, and well, that sucker has a very sharp beak. It hit me right there. There's blood pouring down. So if you ever pick up a blue heron, which I would not advise, it was one of the dumbest things I did. It was years, probably 15 years ago. Control the beak, because I am so lucky I didn't lose an eye. Okay, so you can, let's see. That is definitely 100% an eagle. I just can't see it. It's just too far in the distance. I'm going to come up here. I'll show you a concrete transition and see if we can get this eagle to come a little bit closer. You can see right there. I'm pretty sure that's an osprey nest. We've got a number of really big birds of prey in the sky. And like I said, we had two. We live several miles from here. But we had two bald eagles in our backyard the other day. Well, I've gone from Steve the Guardrail guy to Steve the ornithologist. Ornithologist, how do you say that? Anyways, I love eagles. Even, I see them fairly often, they just are a majestic bird. Let me see here. So West Pittsburgh Road in Taylor Township, Lawrence County, Pennsylvania, and when I reported it to PennDOT, they said it was the township owned. That's when you need to go to the mayor. And, Sam, in Pennsylvania, if they don't fix it, the liability, you have to contact an attorney. Don't ever take legal advice from Steve the Guardrail guy, but there was a decision called the Kagi decision in Pennsylvania. The state Supreme Court ruled that Guardrail, and they called it Guardrail, not Guardrail, but Guardrail, you don't have to install it, but if you do install it, it must meet the modern standard and be crash-worthy. You can't leave it damaged. That eagle has left the building. I don't see where he went to. Oh, maybe that's it. It's way off in the distance. I'm never going to catch him. But anyways, this is another way to end the guardrail, which is terminating into a bridge transition. A concrete transition. You can see the post spacing gets closer and closer and closer and closer and closer, and then heavier I-beam posts. And the reason is that you're trying to prevent hitting that concrete head on in what was called the coffin corner. Let's see. So who else would I report it to? Sam, what you need to do, and I'm going to have to go here in a second because my wife just called me and I actually need to walk back to my car. But what you need to do is look up your state representative. Go to search the Pennsylvania General Assembly or Pennsylvania State Legislature. Get to that website, put in your address. There will be a way to find your state representative or the state representative for this area in West Pittsburgh and Lawrence County, Pennsylvania. And what will happen is once you find your state representative, take a photo and then email them, give them a Google pin location, say, I have reported this many times. I would like your assistance. So I recently have an interview. I got to clean it up a little bit. It was with Congressman John Duncan Jr. He's retired, but John was he was the vice chair of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. He was chair of the Committee on Highways for the United States Congress. So way up there. He was my congressman for Tennessee too, and gave me probably the single best piece of advice any politician has ever given me. And he said, engage with government closest to the people. So you're gonna find the most success I have is when I can engage with a state representative, not the president of the United States, not a governor, not a U.S. senator, and not a congressman. I've been able to speak with all of them. I've gotten all of them to speak out. But the most success, the most meaningful success, is when I engage with a state representative and then with a state senator also, not a U.S. senator, your local state representative. They live and work in your community. Constituent services is what gets them reelected. And I am telling you, search up your state representative, write what you wrote here in this thread, and you will have better success. They love this kind of stuff. They love this kind of success to get the state DOT to respond. It shows that they care about their constituents. I cannot stress that enough. Engage with your state representative when you are getting pushback from your state DOT. They are accountable to the voters and they will respond. Let me those are all spam posts. Nonsense. Don't make terroristic threats. Don't be an idiot. You're probably 11 years old and you're apt to get yourself perp walked by the sheriff down in Florida for dumb comments like that. Anyways, it's Steve the Guardrail guy. I'm gonna end this live here in just a second. I'm gonna watch, because if I don't, that guy right there, I knew he was gonna cut right across this area and not follow the line, and would have killed me. Goodness, when you're on the roadside, you have got to watch your back, because they're not watching it for you. Anyways, hey, thank you all for joining me. Shout out to Progression. Thank you guys. Thanks for the comments and the both in person and through the thread here. I hope we'll be back out on tomorrow night. If I have to look at my schedule, but if I am, I'll put a post, make a post to Facebook. If you haven't, trying to grow my Facebook and Twitter, X. Man, did you guys see Elon Musk's? I try not to be a fan of anyone, but oh my gosh, that guy is impressive with what happened. You got to watch that Starship capture. It's like, it seems fake. That was unreal. I'd love to get him interested in guardrails. But anyways, thanks for joining me. I'm gonna come back out hopefully tomorrow night and watch the next two arms that they're gonna shut down the highway. It will be at night, so we'll see. If we can't see, I'll probably not do a live, but I'm gonna try. I got a coat on today. It was 37 degrees when I woke up this morning. For East Tennessee, I grew up south of Buffalo. That's swimming weather, but here it's cold. Anyways, I'm gonna shut this off and call my wife back. I've got a couple of texts I gotta return, and I just wanted to show you that arm installation on that red light today, which was pretty cool to watch for me at least. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Thanks. Have a great day.